Hello everyone. I am Izza Rahma, the first speaker of this group, and I'm going to explain about linguistic variety and multilingual nation, vernacular language, and standard language. So, without any further ado, let's begin. According to Word of 2006, all languages manifest internal variants, which is each language appears in a variety of varieties. And Holmes, 1994, states that about a half of the world's population is bilingual and much more people are multilingual. They learn a variety of languages due to in their regular interaction they are used them for various purposes. Sociolinguists have developed a number of ways of categorizing languages according to their status and social function. And sociolinguistic divided linguistic variety and multilingual nation to four parts. There are vernacular language, standard language, lingua franca, also pidgin and cereals. First thing first, let's begin to vernacular language. So vernacular language is used in a variety of contexts. It is usually applies to a language that has not been standardized and doesn't have official status. Or we can mention it as a traditional language or indigenous language such as Buang in Papua New Guinea, Melayu and Dayak in Indonesia, also Hindustani in India. Many of them are have never been written down or described detailed. In a multilingual speech community, the many different ethnic or tribal languages used by different groups are referred to as vernacular language. Vernaculars are usually the first languages learned by people in multilingual communities. There are three components to the meaning of the term regional language. As you can see on the screen, the three components of regional language. Then we are going to standard variety. A standard variety is generally one which is written and which has undergone it is different with the vernacular language. Some degree of regularization or codification, for example, in a grammar and a dictionary, or we can call it as in bahasa resmi. It is recognized as a prestigious variety code or code by a community, and it is used for its function alongside a diversity of L varieties. This is a very general definition, and it immediately excludes most of the world's 4 or 5,000 languages. Only minorities of the world's language are written, and even smaller minorities are standardized in the sense of or codified and accepted by the community as suitable for formal function. It will be useful to look at an example to illustrate what the definition means in a particular context. Standard English arose naturally from regional variation or regional diversity. During the 15th century, so the dialect that is used in this area is what we now consider to be Standard English. This is influenced by English being used in the economic field in a very strong trading class. According to Putnam, cited in Holmes, 1994, the standard language, Standard English, in this case, in the variety of language used by the royal court and people living in an area around 60 miles away from London. In that area, there are universities of Oxford and Cambridge beside the royal court. These regions are the political, social, and intellectual centers. So, at present, the dialects used in these regions are the Standard English dialect or the H function. Standard variation are organized or codified variation. These codification generally reach up to the recorded grammar and dictionary and the standard language form has sometimes been determined. Standard English developed set out three criteria for standard recognition. As you can see on the screen, the criteria illustrate that standard language is a particular dialect that, as a result of social, economic, and political influence, has gained a special position. Okay. Standard languages have been explained to be undergoing codification. There are several important things to the codification of language, including codification is about getting language to have a system. Codification is the process by which language is described into grammar and dictionary. In general, codification is based on the language criteria used by educated and high-ranking community members. And last, the subject of codification is a variety of certain languages that, due to social, economic, and political influence, already have a special position. Every language can become a standard language if the language is written, codified, prestigious, used by influential people with a high function or H function. If a variety of language deemed prestigious, the language will spread quickly to the wider community, such as Sunda and Jawa that we know. Like Bahasa Sunda have get into the curriculum in West Java, and it is written and it's standardized, it's codification, so it can call as standard language even this is an indigenous language. Okay, the standard language can be an instrument of communication between regions that have different or regional languages. One example of a standard language in Indonesia, I have mentioned, and then we move to world Englishes. Standard English has been provided in areas with diverse dialects as a very useful variation for communication. Local English variations with special linguistic features have developed in multilingual countries such as Malaysia, Singapore, Hong Kong, India, and many African countries where English is present as a valuable language for broader communication in a multilingual context. Or we can say this is as a first language or second language in that countries. The terms World Englishes and New Englishes were used to emphasize the distance from differences in English language variation developed since 19th century. It has been grouped by Braj Kachuru as the author's circle for those who use English as a second language to distinguish they are with native speakers, or inner circle for those who study English as a foreign language. Culture has also identified expanding circle, or we can say that in every region, even they are use English as their first or second language, they have different dialects in all level of linguistic analysis. When there are levels of variation in pronunciation diversity, the level of variation in writing standards for diversity hasn't been so good before. However, globalization is making English speakers more numerous in the outer and widening circles than the present inner circle. So thank you. That's from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.